Hey, this is Joe Bassett. I'm the CEO of Dawn Equipment Company. We're at the National Strip-Till Expo, which has been a really great event. I think that increasingly we love doing this kind of event as opposed to other trade shows, and I think that, as a specialist manufacturer, we really like to get out in front of strip tillers and have a really focused audience compared to the typical trade shows, which I think are frankly in decline, and events like this are going to be the future. These are going to be the farm shows of the future, where you're really speaking to a focused, interested audience that have pre-selected and decided that they want to come because they're interested in the subject matter. So good job, Lassiter, on putting on these great events. We've been in the strip till business a long time, and almost everybody who knows about strip till knows about the Pluribus strip till unit. It's obviously one of the most unique strip till products. It was the first all rolling coulter strip till product on the market back in 2007. It's a novel spring strip till device. You can use it in the fall. It was the original strip freshener, where you can run it in conjunction with another tool. Even before that term existed, because it produces like a super highly tilled, almost rototilled strip. And one of the interesting things I'm going to talk about today is just, we made the first real advancement that we've made in the past couple of years with the Pluribus, and so we were getting some customer feedback basically that they wanted to open up the window of operation of the product more. They wanted to be able to run in wetter conditions and not wait for as perfect of conditions, because the perception was out there, hey, if it's plantable, conditions in the spring, I want to be planting. So I want to strip till in a wider window of conditions that might be what would be considered non-plantable conditions, right? And so what we've done is we've really added this new design of this crumbler feature to the back of the unit. Previously we had the swirls, which are the teeth that you would see on the Pluribus strip till unit and the wheels. And so the Pluribus strip till unit's like a fluid dynamic device. The blades will lift the soil into the air and produce a fluidized stream of soil that comes out, and you'll kind of see a rooster tail of tilled soil moving through the unit. Well, in sticky, wet conditions, the problem is you can't get enough kind of energy into the soil to get it into the air so it would interact with those blades and break up the clods. And so what this paddle wheel kind of crumbler does is it interacts with the soil flowing in the air, but it also interacts with the soil on the ground, and it produces a very big change in performance. And we can basically say with 100% certainty that we have widened the window of operation on this product dramatically. And so this is an attachment, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this basket wheel, plus there's going to be a new sheet metal guard, because this thing is beating at the soil so aggressively, it'll fly up in the air. So we need to actually contain it, almost like a guard on the back of a rototiller. So we'll kit this wheel plus this guard in one single part number, which will retrofit to everything we've sold back to 2008, and it'll be relatively low cost. And so, what we're doing is we're basically giving customers a very low cost upgrade and a very low cost performance improvement to everything that's been out there in the past. And we'll probably make it a standard feature in the product at some point. So that's a little bit of what's going on the strip till front with us. We're probably going to be announcing a couple other changes to our strip till product line coming up a little bit later in the year. The wetter the conditions, the soil doesn't want to break up into fine pieces. People don't want to plant in the spring. Now, see, that's the fall versus spring equation. In the fall, you can tolerate, you actually want more clods. You want a chunkier strip. Because over the winter it breaks down and it kind of settles itself out. If you make a strip too fine in the fall, it will actually collapse, because a berm is just air. You're taking the soil, you're stirring it up, you're putting air in it, right? And so if you make it too fine in the fall, it'll actually kind of compress down and make a divot, and it will kind of overly compact itself, and you'll lose that berm. But because this is really, probably 75% of the people that use our product use it at least partially in the spring. We really have to have that spring focus, and in the spring they might be planting just an hour after this, so you need to just you want to almost rototill it. You want to super fine. They don't want those clods because the clod can result in like an air pocket around where you're planting the seed. So it really kind of behooves us to focus on like how can we, even in adverse conditions, in clay soils and in kind of wet conditions, you've got 75% of a field which is in great shape. You've got 25% of a field that's not. You don't want to wait on that 25%, and so it just opens up that window in terms of breaking up those clods and making it really a plantable strip that you can come right back into. This is a really interesting event. I mean, I find that in the roundtable yesterday, we were talking about strip till, we're talking about cover crops, we're talking about all sorts of different things, but the benefit for us, when you look at where as an aftermarket, as a short line company like us, you only have so much bandwidth. There's so many events. There's so many different things that are competing for your kind of like engagement as a company that you can't do them all. And there's way too many. And increasingly kind of, we look at like right now, there's another traditional type of farm show going on that our team's at. And I was talking with one of the sales teams that was out there, and they were like, it's dead. There's empty booths. The farmers aren't coming out to those traditional outdoor farm shows in the same way. And when you look at the kind of, I guess, the return on investment for a specialist company like us, we can come to an event like this and really speak directly to a more focused audience that really cares. They're not there to get a corn dog. They're there because they're actually kind of interested in the subject matter. So I think really in the future, we're going to be looking for more specialized technical events like the National No-Till Conference, like the National Strip-Till Conference, and other types of things like that, because it's just a better use of time and money than kind of, at a lot of farm shows, it's kind of like you stand there and like maybe, hopefully the weather works out and people show up or things like that. And, it's just, the industry's changing. Farmers are discovering products on the internet. I remember when I was just getting into the business, or when I was a kid, and like you'd go to like the outdoor farm shows. It was a big deal. Like that's how people discovered products in the pre-internet era. You'd go out, but now it's the farmer of today is seeking out information and engaging with us in social media, engaging with us in a lot of different ways. And when I talk to them here, I know 90% of these people, 90% of the people here might be following us in one of our social media feeds, might be engaging with us already, and we're just kind of continuing that conversation, whereas rather than a trade show type experience. So we like these events,